Well, Tom Servo, Carnage, and maybe Rapha, maybe Gellehsak are going to be going to QuakeCon pending this outcome. Let's go ahead and throw it over to our commentators now who are standing by. We've got Jahar and Machiavelli.
All right, and of course, we're going to be looking forward to this next matchup here. I mean, Rapha's been warming up a lot. I can only assume that Gellehsak joining us online has been doing much the same thing. Like the guys over there said, we've been seeing a lot of really good action out of Gellehsak. Actually, it's a little disadvantageous for us because we've seen him just get through that first qualifier. But of course, now we get to get all that information right here, right now.
Little inside information. I actually saw these guys practicing online. I was watching them the other night. So these two might be a little familiar with each other, which when you're a little familiar with another player could make for an even more intriguing matchup.
Well, I appreciate that they've given us a little bit of time to catch up with them here in this first minute. It's actually been a really slow first minute here in Blood Run. We're currently following Rapha as he's playing out with Ranger. Just going a little bit quiet here right now, and I love the fact that both players will get items, throw off a lot of spam, and then immediately go quiet. We're going to be seeing Rapha potentially going for a chase up the jump pad. No, he's going to be doubling back over to lower TP, actually taking the quieter way back up to rocket launcher, just as Gellehsak is going to be over the top, throwing down just a little bit of spam there on top of the Mega as well. It's going to be traded off potentially with the rail. No real hits coming out of Rapha just yet. He's just taking, well, only a very little amount of damage, but he's taking it indeed. We have a little bit of retaliation with the LG, but it's going to be looking for those rails once again from Rapha.
Yeah, just trying to get a little damage on there before he could make an aggressive move, but he didn't like it, and he decided to back off.
Really nice hit there out of Rapha there as he's able to take away the armor, his nice prize after that fight. We're going to be seeing Gellehsak get smoked out the other way, but Rapha going quiet is just wondering, hoping to see if his opponent is going to choose coming up here for his exit. It might come out this way, but look at the anticipation. Look at the spam coming out of Gellehsak, doing a ton of damage. Rapha immediately has to back up here, go back over towards rocket launcher and look for a few healing items, but that rail is also going to be making sure that Rapha is going to be on the back foot.
Yeah, nice patience by Gellehsak there. He went quiet in that back room. Obviously, Rapha knew he was somewhere back there, and he decided to, come around the corner, take a little look, and boy, Gellehsak made him pay for that little peek.
Absolutely, and Gellehsak right now looking for the finishing damage here. He's not going to get it just yet. Rapha being incredibly conservative here, looking for, I guess you could call that a trap here on the upper armor room. He gets a few of those bolts in, not quite as many as the Hang did in his earlier match here with the nail gun, but it's still going to win him a mega health as he heads back over to the jump pad, actually, putting himself back into this potentially deadly room.
Picked up the heavy armor there. I was wondering if Rapha was going to maybe try to make a play around the corner in a hurry, but I don't think he wants to risk anything too crazy right now. I think he's just looking to get that basic armor stack. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so far it's been about just getting natural items and then setting some potential traps for Gellehsak, but it's got to be annoying because Gellehsak just isn't walking into him just yet. But right now, Rapha over the top of Mega Health looking for a potential amount of spam, ends up hitting the grate. Not exactly the greatest shot from him, but he's going to be looking for a bit of retaliatory damage over the top as he gets the grab for armor, ends up taking a bit of rocket damage himself. Really good LG, just aiming down directly onto his opponent's forehead and getting a lot of that stack burned off.
Yeah, not a great angle. I mean, he really made the most of that. It just shows you his natural ability there. That's just a great aim. What can you say?
And he's still looking for these really tight corner rails, and he's getting a little bit more spam from Gellehsak, and even though it's not doing a lot of damage to Rapha, it certainly is telling Gellehsak where Rapha's coming from. But look at this pressure that Rapha's putting on. He's going to be forcing him through the teleporter here pretty soon if he can get a rail or two in, but right now he's going to be leaving that up, knowing that armor's back up and making sure it's going to be a safe grab. But here comes Gellehsak just right back in, looking for that one rail. He didn't make the hit, but I certainly appreciate the thought.
Yeah, it looks like Rapha's in, ooh, nice rail there by Gellehsak, but Rapha's in decent control here. He's controlling the major items. But Gellehsak's, he's really smart. Like you said, he's avoiding those traps and even setting traps of his own to counter Rapha from rushing him. So it's really interesting right now. We're 4 minutes in. We don't have a frag yet. It just shows you the mental level these guys are at. Man, it's going to come down to one frag here. It really is.
Absolutely, and that one rail is going to be taking Gellehsak down only momentarily as he takes away a mega health. But like you said, just 1 minute left to go, and these rails are going to start stacking up from Rapha unless Gellehsak can start stabbing out a few of his own here. 13 seconds to Mega, and that is potentially going to be our next big fight. Knowing that Gellehsak is back over towards the rocket launcher, I'm not going to expect Rapha to push forward onto him before getting that Mega. Well, he's pushing it a little bit here. He ends up beating a rail for it, and now he's actually kind of in the danger zone. He's able to get the grab for the Mega and then get the hell out of there.
Yeah, a little risky, but it's calculated risk. He knew the Mega was coming up, and he just wanted to kind of force Gellehsak off that lower position there so he can secure it.
Absolutely. So once again, going quiet, and I think you're right there. We might be seeing this go into overtime. I mean, it's an Anarchy v Ranger. I mean, Anarchy can be so dangerous, but also so fragile here. It's a miracle that neither of these players have found a frag yet.
Again, it just shows what level these guys are both playing at a very high level right now, not giving each other very much to work off of in terms of when they're making this. If they make any kind of leave an opening for their opponent, it's very small. And yeah, both guys are playing top level right now. I mean, it's really impressive to watch. I mean, I know people like it's 0-0, but the reason why it's 0-0 is because both these guys are really good at playing really smart.
Absolutely, and once again, a bit of a lost opportunity there on the armor as Gellehsak is leaving it completely open. That's going to kind of force the points on the Mega. I mean, Gellehsak's going to need some help here to come back into this as they trade rails. That is going to make that point even stronger here, but it's going to be Rapha doing enough damage to force Gellehsak off of it, taking the Mega for himself, and maybe even going for a chase through the teleporter. It won't be much of a chase. In fact, he's going to be turning around just as his opponent is going for the rail, but that still means that Gellehsak will have to fade away as Rapha takes all the items on the map.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Rapha doesn't. He wants to push here so badly, you can see it.
But Gellehsak is going to be slipping through his fingers once again here, and I appreciate that he didn't immediately go through that doorway. As we've already seen, it can be such a death trap.
Yeah, he paid for that earlier and learned his lesson. A good player like Rapha, it's probably only going to work once when you get something on him.
Absolutely, but once is all either of these players need, at least for this round here, as Rapha once again taking away the Mega health. Coming through the teleport is going to be a ton of LG thrown out either way, leaving Rapha actually a little bit worse for the wear than Gellehsak. He came down to a railable 55 health, but he's going to be recovering pretty cleanly. Yeah,
that turned around the stack position a little bit here. Gellehsak, I'd be surprised if he doesn't make a stronger play at Mega compared to the last few times.
It seems that after a few of these fights, Gellehsak might be feeling a little bit more confident. I mean, when you're playing against Rapha, how confident can you be feeling at the outset? But as this match lingers on, Gellehsak is doing so much damage that Rapha is just having to respond to by getting 25s, but as he looks over the lower armor here, he's looking for a play through the stairs. He had to hear the hoverboard as he comes Marty McFly down, but no, he's going to be turning back around and making that a grab for armor, and now look at this, Gellehsak has got complete control of the items.
Yeah, if you're Rapha right now, he's got to be very careful. He's obviously looking to work those lighter armors and just keep his basic stack. He's still missing 25. I'm sure he would like to at least be 175 for any kind of encounter. But at the same time, you know, Gellehsak's running Anarchy, so if he comes around the corner at the wrong spot, eats a couple rockets, that could be all she wrote.
Or he comes around the corner and just unloads a ton of LG, taking away Mega as well. This doesn't mean a frag just yet, but as he comes around the corner, it's going to be a rocket jump to the armor. It's going to be Rapha getting the grab, just barely getting out of there alive, but he's still kind of on the run here, having to get 25s as Gellehsak is also taking a lot away from this map. He was expecting him to go back up to top armor, didn't quite find him there, but now Rapha's going to be crossing the map.
Yeah, you see Rapha being very careful there, kind of a little misdirection, doesn't want to, because he knows Gellehsak is really on top of laying traps, so he doesn't want to make anything too obvious with his movements, so he's taking his time and trying to fake him out. Oof. Nice shot.
Well, fake or not, that rail is certainly going to make Gellehsak think twice about that Mega, and now he's going to be looking for a little bit of rocket play up here on the stairs. Both of them can take a rail and a half before really having to worry, but neither of these players wants to risk it that much. As, of course, the sudden death timer elapses, the stakes just get higher and higher.
Can you hit that, a half a rail? Is that a thing?
I feel like I've done it before. Some of them didn't seem like they did all the damage I thought they were going to. But right now, Gellehsak doing a ton of damage just so consistently, and he's looking for more here as he rains down the rockets onto Rapha's head. Really good responsive rockets as well, force him to back off. But here's Rapha once again getting control of the health at the very least as Gellehsak trades it off with the armor.
It's amazing. Both these guys, just it seems like neither can really get a leg up on the other. It's like if one guy gets control, the other guy sets a good trap, and then he evens it out or gets control, and vice versa. It's just, he keeps swinging back and forth here with the control and who's controlling the major items. It's I'm really curious to see who breaks through here with this frag.
Well, it might be Gellehsak who's breaking Rapha right now as he does a ton of damage, forces up to the staircase, making this a potential rail situation, but he sees the Dire Orb, decides to push right through the teleport. Really good read, and he was almost fast enough to catch him, but he was indeed fast enough to take away every item on the map.
Yeah, that was a big play by Gellehsak, forcing him off that. And even the Dire Orb by Rapha was, you know, to get himself out of a bad position, he really had to do that. So Gellehsak's in firm control right now, probably looking to get aggressive and get a kill if he can. But again, you got to recognize who he's playing, and it's not exactly easy to run right at Rapha.
Did you really think that the first matchup, the first round between these two could go into 5 minutes of overtime?
You know, honestly, no. I mean, I expected a close competitive match. Wow. Oh!
And expectations or not, yes, we did indeed see that Anarchy. That is going to be a very quick frag for a very long round.
Yeah, he came flying around the corner and landed 2 just flush rockets, and I mean, that's it. And we were commenting earlier how he took control. You know, he had the items. Rapha was kind of living off of the basic health, basic armor, and you know, it came back to haunt him there. He didn't have enough to deal with that.
And Quake being Quake, 2 rockets is all it takes. But now we're going to be changing things up here a little bit as Rapha's not spawning Ranger, but going for the Nyx play instead. So if Gellehsak wants to be aggressive, at least Rapha has the out, but he can turn that out potentially into an in with that Ghost Walk.
Very impressive, though. We watched Gellehsak in the first week, you know, when he beat Carnage. So we haven't got to see him in a while, but I knew that first week you could just tell this guy is a really solid player. Not just like the mechanics of it. Everybody, you know, likes to focus on aim, but he really does have a mental approach down. As you can see, Rapha's a very intelligent player. So yeah, it's very curious. I'm very curious to see if he pushes Rapha all the way to the end, and maybe even gets an upset here.
Well, there's a lot of LG pushed in just now, but we're going to be seeing a little bit of equivalent damage dealt out by Gellehsak as both players are licking their wounds. But it looks like actually, is it going to be a jump pad play from Gellehsak? No, he's going to be crossing back over towards Rocket Launcher as Rapha is looking for him out of the teleporter, or at least listening for him out of the teleporter before committing to the staircase. There's a lot of potential damage. It's going to be difficult to escape back through the teleporter, but the damage is done and the control is taken by Rapha on the Mega Health.
Yeah, he's in good position now, especially if he can get this heavy armor. I think Gellehsak's been doing a good job of playing defensive over there in the back super nail gun area, so I want to see if Rapha can make some kind of adjustment to, you know, get him out of his bunker, so to speak.
Maybe a lost opportunity for both of them there, but we see a lot of spam taking the top of the teleporter exit. So Rapha going to be circumventing the map here and diving down towards LG, maybe catching Gellehsak. But Gellehsak is still, look at how, I don't want to say nervous, but look how paranoid he's being of Rapha coming around every corner. I mean, he's the Anarchy here. Maybe he's the one who needs to be doing that, but right now he's making sure that Rapha is not going to be getting the drop on him. There's the committal through the teleporter, and here's the potential damage, but there's no rails or rockets coming from Gellehsak. Just a little bit of LG, but nowhere near enough to be decisive.
Nice little Ghost Walk play. I like this. Oh, I thought he had him for sure there. I really did. That was a smart play. It just didn't work out for Rapha.
Unfortunately not, but Gellehsak is going to be coming back into Rocket Launcher room as we hear or see Rapha with the benefit of our X-Ray. I mean, these guys just got to use their ears. Really nice little bit of rocket spam there to keep Rapha off of the catwalk and almost catches him out of the doorway as well. If that rocket was like a degree to the left, that could have been the end of Rapha for this Nyx at the very least.
A game of millimeters, you know, they say football's a game of it. This is a game of millimeters. That little bit makes the difference between a miss and a frag.
Absolutely. Well, the time is also getting short here as once again we have no frags on the board in this round just yet as we come into our final couple minutes here, but we're looking for rails and it's going to be Rapha getting it. We have Gellehsak using his ability that doesn't quite get him back up to 80 health here, so he's looking for a little bit of free armor, but it looks like Rapha's going to make sure that nothing's free.
Yeah, Gellehsak, real sneaky. He was right there in that stairwell. Like, Rapha's so close to him and just can't quite get a read on where exactly he is. Oh, might get a frag here, though.
Yeah, he's a little bit lucky to get around that corner before Rapha's rail takes him out. He's still at 50 health here. He can stand in the blood pool to get a little bit more health, but it won't get him back up to railable. Or not railable, as I'm sure he prefers. But we have armor potentially taken here up top, but Gellehsak is just trying to avoid the fight right now. He sees it, but he knows it's going to be bait as it's taken away by Rapha as he pops back through the teleporter. Rapha's looking for more damage, but nice little bit of spam there from Gellehsak, and every little bit counts right now.
And Gellehsak, man, you gotta give him. Really staying cool under fire. Rapha's been putting pressure on him pretty much this whole round. You know, he doesn't have control, so he can't. What he needs to do is really try to set an ambush at some point, but it's really hard to do against the Nyx when you're an Anarchy.
Oh, wow. Really ballsy coming around the corner with the weapon swap, going back over to LG, but the damage is dealt, and like you said, Gellehsak has got to, you know, make sure he's got some control, if not of the Mega, but if it's something, but comes back through the teleporter, and there is a, oh, hi, there you are. Shotgun to the face with 1 minute left. It's going to be Gellehsak spawning up as Sorlag, and if you're looking for an opportunity to take Nyx down very quickly and get back on the board, that's it, but it looks like he might not get that opportunity just yet.
Yeah, nice shotgun frag by Rapha there. Just like you said, shotgun to the face, point blank, you know, all that stuff. I think he landed every single bullet on that one.
Absolutely. So Rapha, again, just throwing out a lot of spam now, just making sure that Gellehsak stays off his back. But of course, that kind of reveals his position. He's looking for the rail, and he ends up getting a nice, tasty Mega Health to satisfy him as well. But that is 2 frags up, and Gellehsak has no time at all to catch up.
You know, to compare this round to the last round, both started off, relatively slow, especially last round we got a sudden death. And, this round also, we didn't get a frag till about 4 minutes in. But it just seems to me that Rapha's really starting to settle in a little bit here and reading Gellehsak a little better. To compare the rounds, I felt like Rapha was in control the majority of the second round versus it was a little more split the first round, and then he was just kind of constantly putting that pressure on. You saw him getting away with Anarchy, but he's always popping his ability to get away. It was never like, it just seemed like he couldn't get anything going that way. Gellehsak was always on his heels.
It definitely seems like the gears shifted. I think you're absolutely right. Rapha took a little bit of time to figure out, if my opponent's at this teleporter, which way is he going? If he's at these stairs, which way is he going? And unfortunately, that means that Gellehsak was read like a book, and that got Rapha the first round. But we are tied 1-1 here, and it's still any man's map.
Yeah, Gellehsak's playing very strong. It's just a nice turnaround, but again, this is a game about adjustments and mental fortitude. He could adjust and reset, and maybe find some things about Rapha that he can exploit.
Absolutely. So Rapha looking for a little bit of rail spam on the Mega Health. It doesn't quite go his way, but at least he doesn't take anything return. And this armor, oh, cool. You don't actually see that too often where somebody's spamming the armor and just does no damage. But whoa, where did Gellehsak come from? I'm sure Rapha's wondering the same thing as they both do a ton of LG damage to each other and break off the fight. It was also nice that both of them were at these corners where they could get away, but there's the chase through the teleporter with the Ghost Walk. At 55 health, that's incredibly risky, but he decided not to go for it.
Calculated risks.
Yeah.
Those are those things. I mean, it's really tough. These players, when they get into the big stage and everything, to make that call when everything's, stuff is on the line like this, you got to give these players a lot of credit for making those kind of decisions.
And it was very close to getting chased through the teleporter, but Rapha just made sure to come back to the other armor. He didn't see the lower armor available, and when you're Nyx, you really do need those pickups. But here's Gellehsak, fresh off the Mega and the heavy armor, looking for a rocket fight, as Rapha is once again going to be escaping and hoping to catch him down here. Rapha's going to be a little bit too clever to dive for the easy bait, and in fact, he's throwing out a lot of retaliatory rails as well.
Yeah, nice Mega's pickup there.
So Gellehsak recovering back in the upper armor room. We're going to be hearing the heavy armor taken by Rapha pretty soon as he comes down to the platform. That might open him up for some rockets, but Gellehsak is just happy to be content up here for the moment. But here's Rapha coming into it, and it's going to be forcing the suicide onto Gellehsak. I mean, who could have expected Rapha to show up there?
I was mentioning earlier how he seemed to be bunkering in back in that nail gun, and I was wondering how long it would take for Rapha to kind of start reading him a little bit better there. And
now we know.
Yeah, now we know. I mean, he was all over him there, and it was a nice turnaround from Rapha because Gellehsak had control not too long ago. He missed that Mega, got the heavy armor, and ooh, nice comeback there by Gellehsak.
Awesome comeback. I mean, when you're able to take a Mega Health off of spawning Sorlag, I mean, that gives you, as you can see, like 3 times the health that that Nyx has. It's crazy, but here's Gellehsak coming out of Rapha here, and this is where things could slow down potentially, but it's 1 frag off for each of these guys. We're going to have to see how this play for Mega goes, as Gellehsak is going to be going for the grab once again, getting an awesome health stack here, and actually the timing could allow him to bolster that up with armor as well. He comes back around the corner to prevent, or at least acknowledge, the pickup of the LG from Rapha.
Yeah, Gellehsak right now really stacked. If he gets this heavy armor, which he just did, Rapha's got to be very careful right now.
Oh, being that far off from the teleporter exit, he's going to be inviting a lot of LG damage there, and that's exactly what he took. But now Gellehsak is actually kind of leaving the pressure off. He's going to be coming back up top map, but that all depends on whether or not Rapha is going to come through this doorway. He's trying to avoid the shotgun, doesn't want to give away any sounds, and there's the explosion from the rockets. It doesn't turn into anything lethal, but it still gives Gellehsak the ability to go, all right, I've got plenty of time to go get Mega, and then come back in for armor. Actually, this routing could actually cut him off of armor for a little bit, but it looks like we still have Rapha up top. It's up to both of them to commit.
Nice little fake by Rapha. He thought forced the rocket towards the heavy armor there, because Gellehsak thought he was just going to straight jump across. It's just interesting seeing the back and forth reads on these people. It's really excellent. Like even earlier, the hallway there, Gellehsak left the Mega Health up, and Rapha made the assumption, right, he's going to go grab the Mega Health, so I'm going to come up the stairwell, and then there he was with an ambush. So traps for traps, a lot of baiting back and forth here, mental play. It's really, really impressive to watch.
Absolutely, but we have Rapha now having to depend on this totem to keep him alive, taking away the 225s as well. And you're absolutely right. I mean, if last round we saw Rapha reading Gellehsak like a book, it looks like Gellehsak has learned a few new words here. Yeah,
again, the Mega Health play I thought was really key, just to show that Gellehsak's kind of figuring Rapha out, and even maybe running into some trap. He really set that up, and even earlier, the first round, the super nail gun room, he almost nailed Rapha there. This match is very much in the balance.
Now, of course, as more time goes on, you're going to be seeing more of these totems drop down from Gellehsak, which is actually really interesting because if your opponent destroys them or runs into them, you know, damage is cool too, but information is even better in my opinion. However, we're also starting to see Gellehsak sort of skirt around these totems, not popping them, not revealing his position, and still staying really sneaky. Oh no! That looked a little unfortunate. All right, but we're going to be seeing Gellehsak here taking the frag and taking the round here as we see ellipses from Rapha.
A little unfortunate, came around the corner, and I think he got a little jitter there right at the wrong time.
A little bit there, and that pillar can be incredibly nasty, and just like the first round, 2 rockets on that pillar can spell a very untimely demise.
And, you know, Gellehsak, you got to give this guy credit. The mental game, he's really making Rapha work here. You know, even when he doesn't have control, you know, Rapha's a beast. This guy runs around the map. It's not easy to avoid this guy and to keep these engagements, you know, off of you. So you got to give a lot of credit to Gellehsak right now for the mental approach.
Absolutely, but as we go into this potentially final round here, it looks like we're seeing a lot more aggression coming out of Rapha. He wanted to make up for his previous sins there on the pillar, and he's able to take down that Anarchy very quickly. But again, all that means is that Gellehsak is now playing Sorlag mode, and we now know that is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, watch out for that acid spit. It's dangerous. You come around the corner, especially this map, you know, Blood Run, you come around the corner at the wrong time. There's plenty of opportunity for that. You run Sorlag in your face, not fun.
Not at all, but Gellehsak is kind of staying cool here right now. Nice and cold-blooded. He's got 10 seconds before Mega Health comes back up. He's got a little bit more time before armor comes up as well, so he's just taking a quick lap through the map, making sure he knows where Rapha is before he commits to it. But if he ends up getting pegged by Rapha in the meantime, he might lose out on the item, might lose out on the fight, and just have to give things up here. Nice rocket jump to get him back up top map. This still allows him an ability to put pressure on the armor. His timing is a little bit off, though. He's down to 75 health. He's now railable, and that is the armor taken away by Rapha. And look at this Gellehsak trying to stay defensive here, down in the blood pool, and also throwing out some spit, but here comes the Ghost Walk, popped in, locked by Rapha.
That's just great play by Rapha. He knew his man was down there. Good preemptive Ghost Walk and just lined him up for the rockets. Just, what can you say? That's just textbook, I guess. If you could say textbook Ghost Walk ambush, that's it right there. There
are a lot of places where it's really good to go quiet and go still in this map, but if your opponent knows you're down on the teleporter and you're low, it's an open invitation to bring the fight directly to your doorstep. Nice LG.
But you can be sure all
and again there, that's just, you know, not just the aim, but catching him in the position, trying to come off of the heavy armor platform. That is just lightning gun heaven.
Well, talking about predictions here, you know, earlier we were surprised to see a no frag overtime happen in the first round, but now we're in the final round, 2 on each of these guys' side.
Yeah, it looked like maybe Rapha woke up a little bit on that last one.
Yeah, I think, you know, he definitely turned on the VTech for sure.
Yeah, like the turbo is activated.
Well, let's see if he has any of that NOS left here as we come into the final round here on Blood Run. It's going to be Rapha up top looking for him out of the teleporter, actually catching him with rockets as well, and actually pushing this forward. He has Ghost Walk, he can still stay aggressive, looking for the rail as well, but has to break it off and go invisible. He can take away the 225s here. He has just enough armor to keep him from being railed here as Mega comes up. He's looking for the spam from Gellehsak. Doesn't quite happen as he's back up top map. Instead, going for the safer armor.
Yeah, Gellehsak with the Anarchy. Be careful, you don't have armor. I mean, he's 1 rail away.
Especially when you think he's going one way and then he's back into the room that you just crossed through teleporter on. I mean, he was able to get back in and get the grab for the heavy armor so fast.
Yeah, that was important for him. It's a little, that safety of having that light armor before he went across. So, and Rapha was on the bottom, so Rapha wasn't in a great position to he was just looking to peek and maybe catch a rail as he jumped across. So good delay by Gellehsak again. He's playing smart.
One way or another, we haven't seen that early frag out of Rapha just yet. In fact, he might be in a bit of trouble here up on top of the heavy armor. He's able to get the grab and push him forward. Here comes the Ghost Walk, here comes the chase. Gellehsak has got to know that there's a Nyx right behind him as they both break away. But this is pretty easy for Rapha. He can recover on some health orbs pretty quickly. But no, here's Gellehsak right back into it. Not a time Rapha wanted to have that fight.
A little surprised. I think he caught Rapha a little off guard there. I thought Rapha was waiting for him to come around from the health and the teleporter. And oh wow, he just came right back. Rapha's just having none of it right now.
Yeah, I think when you would think Rapha would be tilted, he's just ready to go.
I think his version of tilt is, I'm going to step it up a notch and just get a frag the heck out of you.
Going to get mad and even. And so far, even up he does. He's got Sorlike left over on Gellehsak as well as a Ranger in his pocket. But right now it's Ranger and Gellehsak for Rapha here. But again, 2 minutes knocked off. This is the final round. And as this fight occurs for the upper armor, it's actually going to be an attempted escape from Gellehsak, not one that works out for him.
Rapha actually got.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Rapha, yeah. It was a heck of a lineup by Gellehsak. He caught him coming off that tri-bolt ledge, just lined him up with the lightning gun, and the dire orb was too little too late. It was desperation.
It's always such a risk thinking that your opponent has gone and it's safe to drop, and it turns out not to be safe. All right, but that's going to be Gellehsak, the final champion available for Rapha here in this map at the very least. As we have Gellehsak taking away heavy armor, 5 seconds to Mega. They might have a little bit of a scuffle here at rocket launcher. It's going to be Gellehsak going quiet, moving around the corner. Really good defensive rockets coming out of Rapha, but it's not enough against that stack. And that is going to be the first map going to Gellehsak.
Well played by Gellehsak. What can you say? I mean, seriously, pushing Rapha to his limits right now. Just playing smart, you know, limiting the engagements, you know, looking at the armor pickups health, relatively equal. You know, Rapha is known for his item control, known for his map control, and when you say, you know, he only had, you know, 4 more heavy armors, 5 more mega healths, you think, you know, that's not a huge difference to overcome in regards, you know, a few good ambushes and you can overcome that. And I think Gellehsak was really running into good ambushes, really. They
were trading so often. I mean, you said it, that the difference in the items there is actually not all that wide, but we saw so many items turn into potential fights that didn't turn into actual fights because neither player decided it was worth the risk, and that's what I really love about this game. It's what I really love about Blood Run in general. Both of those items are so risky that both players want to spam it, they want to like show up, they want to do some damage, but sometimes just diving in for the item, not worth it. And I was just getting a treat because we have the benefit of X-ray, right? So seeing the read and like the prediction rocket, and he knows he's there, but the guy also. So you see Gellehsak stop just short of the door, just short of the door where the rocket missed. And you're like, that mental play, I just can't get enough of that. That gives me goosebumps. So I think I really do. That's one of the things I love about Quake is that, you know, playing against the machine, playing against bots, that's one thing. Playing against a human, completely different animal. You know, you can beat any game you want on hard difficulty, whatever. It's just a computer. When you play humans. Well, it certainly looked like Rapha turned animal mode on there. So we're gonna have to see if Gellehsak can continue it into the next map. But for the moment, we've got a brief word from Stunna and Blue.
Hey, thanks, guys. You guys having a good time over there? I can imagine they are, huh? Wherever they may be. Anyway, let's take a look at this because right now, Rapha, the defending champ, he's getting beat up on a little bit.
Yeah, actually, and we were talking actually to someone else before about how much history actually Gellehsak has coming into Quake and how he's played in some of the the previous big versions of competitive Quake and CPMA and things like that, and how he was actually a pretty well-renowned player in the region, specifically up in Canada and whatnot. So he has a lot of history coming into this himself, and it's actually not, when you look at that fact, it's actually not too surprising that he did end up taking at least this first map.
Now, the interesting thing to point out here is, will this be where Gellehsak breaks out, sort of like breaks it into that super upper echelon of play? And it's kind of hard to know and say at this point, but if he keeps playing like this, I believe it's definitely possible.
Yeah, and there's it's definitely possible. He does, in my eyes, he does have to really complete the upset here and actually try to win this one out in the 2-0 fashion. If he wants to have that happen, that would just completely knock the champion into the lower bracket right from the start if he's going to want to have that upset potential.
Well, let's load up a replay real quick and take a look at some of this action because there's been some killing going on, let me tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. There has been some good stuff, so we can get that and take a look at some of the replays, of course. Specifically, the first one that I wanted to take a look at was towards the very first round, and we saw how long that fight went on towards. I think in a moment here, we're going to take a look at the actual conclusion of that once they get it up on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely some openings there where it kind of like you kind of had to examine what's Rapha's game plan right here, because he looks like he's caught off guard a little bit. But here we go. Here's the replay. Blue, walk us through this.
So yeah, so this is the very end of the first round. And it's crazy that this round went as long as it did, right? Because the rounds are in theory supposed to be like 5 minutes long with maybe a minute or two of overtime, but this one goes on for 9.5 minutes. And while the kill itself is really great, Gellehsak finally moving in and able to shut down Rapha. This shows how things evolved over the course of the game, because for this first round, both the players were really extremely passive in the way that they were trying to approach the game, and that really aligns with more of Rapha's usual play style. But then that changed a lot more as we headed further into the game.
I mean, we're talking about the man that is 5 steps ahead Am I right?
Yeah, so that's what it's supposed to be.
Let's load up the next replay here and take a look at this ghost kill. Blue, what's going on?
So this was where things started to change up a little bit in my eyes with Rapha here. This is where he got a nice kill coming out of a ghost walk on the Nyx right here. And this is where we started to see him get a lot more aggressive, specifically because he wanted to knock out these first two champions on Gellehsak, the Anarchy along with the Sorlag, because the movement and the way that those two champions work really plays into Gellehsak's favor. That's the movement style that he's used to. Whereas his third champion there, the Ranger, doesn't necessarily play like that. So by knocking out those first two, Rapha thinks he can get a good advantage, and that's why he was playing so aggressively. Unfortunately, as we'll see in a moment, though, that does come back to bite him.
So we did see that aggressiveness. We did see that sort of like, hey, I'm going to get right in your face. I'm going to use this to my advantage. We're going now into Blood Covenant. What is there to expect going into Blood Covenant?
Hopefully a little bit more competition coming out from Rapha as well, because that's the quintessential, Quake Champions map, and that's where Rapha has been putting a lot of his time into, is sort of specializing now in the Quake Champion style. So we have to hope that since this is the map that has been in the game for the longest amount of time, that he's going to be able to bring the heat a little bit better on this map.
And I really do believe that Rapha is still capable of really managing his resources well. That's what he's known for, from my understanding, and I think that that's something that can definitely carry over here. Obviously, got off to a rough start. Can he bring it back in the next map?
He's going to have to watch that aggressive playstyle too. Is like I said before, that did come back to bite him a little bit towards the end of the game, and that's going to be a little bit harder to execute on the upcoming map because it is a little bit more open. It's a little bit easier to punish that playstyle.
Okay, well, it's about that time again. I'm going to go ahead and throw it now back to Machiavelli and Jahar.
Thank you, guys. And it looks like we're going to be having this matchup go in just a moment. And I completely agree with what Blue was saying there. I think what we saw come out of Rapha towards the end of Blood Run, I mean, this is usually a map where I would say things would slow down a little bit, but I think Rapha, especially with this pick of Anarchy here, is ready to make this a very intense fight.
Might have a little bit of his chip on his shoulder after the first map. I would imagine, feeling like, the confidence, you're the top dog, defending champion, this and that. You don't want to drop that first map. I imagine he's going to come back with a fury right now.
Well, we're going to
at least try to.
How furious it is as we have two Anarchies going head-to-head. Or, I mean, they would be if they weren't spawning on opposite sides of the map, but we have Rocket Launcher taken away very quickly by Rapha here. It's going to be a play for either of them to rail. A play that's concluded very quickly in Rapha's hands. So we have Gellehsak with what? LG, shotgun, maybe HMG? He doesn't have a lot to work with here, and Rapha, the longer he can keep that situation that way, the better for him. He can really aggress with rail, he can really aggress with LG, and he can do a ton of damage potentially.
Yeah, it's one thing missing one, the rocket or rail. It's another thing when you're missing both. I mean, the lightning gun certainly has its uses, if you catch somebody in the right circumstances, but overall, you really want the rocket launcher and the rail to do that heavy instant damage.
Wow, but just like you said, doing amazing work with the LG, forcing Rapha to take a quick dose there just to stay alive. He's going to be heading back over towards large armor here so far, but up at the top of the bridge, we have Gellehsak ready and primed with his own rail now, as he's finally gotten some weapons away. But yeah, it was a little bit weird for Gellehsak to go for the heavy armor when he didn't have any weapons.
Yeah, you got to be really careful running over there. Again, not having a rocket launcher, you run around the wrong corner and somebody's ambushing you with a rocket launcher and you're sitting there with a nail gun. Not good.
That sounds familiar. I think that happened last match.
It probably happened to me.
Oh, but Rapha with that rocket is going to need to back out of there. Fortunately, he's got a Mega to recover to, and he can throw down a few rockets onto Gellehsak down in the pillars, but as he potentially comes through the teleporter or escapes through the LG, Rapha's going to be hunting for blood.
Curious to see if Gellehsak makes it. Oh, he's going to make a play for this, or he was planning on making a play for that heavy armor, but Rapha was there in good position.
All right, well, Rapha's not making any plays at all here. It's all serious business for this guy. He's able to take away the armor and do a little bit of damage to Gellehsak in the meantime without getting anything in response. But again, it's Anarchy, so no matter how many megas and heavy armors you take, you're never going to be that much more than 2 rails away from death.
Yeah, that's right. It's one of the drawbacks to the character. Nice frag there. Really, really close, but nice frag. One of the drawbacks of the champion, obviously, is it's fast, but yeah, 2 good rockets, 2 rails, you're either dead or hurting.
Absolutely, but like you said, I mean, that Anarchy getting fragged down there. Up at the armor, we don't actually see too many lethal fights happen just there, but now we've got Sorlag for Gellehsak. Rapha is looking to make one more dead dino than he had before, but he's going to have to wait a little bit here. Items aren't coming up. Gellehsak doesn't have an obvious place to play to. It might turn into a safe play for armor and Mega here, and it seems that's something that Rapha is kind of okay with.
Yeah, it looks like Gellehsak's trying to set up some snipe shots. Rapha's right. He's going to run between the major items. when you're trying to get back control, for those who are less than DueL, you can kind of play off the fact that he's going to run to this heavy armor. Now, you know, he's going to run back to the mega health now. You can read this, and you can try to lay traps and ambushes to even that stack and get the steal on these heavy items.
This has got to be very exciting for Rapha, as soon as he saw that rocket spam, he knew that Gellehsak was not already on the heavy armor side of the map, and he could just circumvent him and go for it. But as you can see, all of that stack is immediately knocked off. It was a ton of damage that Rapha did as well, but as you can see, this mega getting taken away by Gellehsak immediately changes the balance of things quite a bit.
Yeah, that's one of the, again, he's going against a tankier champion, so when it comes to stack versus stack, you know, obviously Sorlag is going to be the bigger of the two.
Well, there goes that stack as the LG from Rapha just completely wrecks Gellehsak. Almost an opportunity for a rail frag there, and as he drops down towards shotgun, Gellehsak's got to know that Rapha's going to be breathing down his neck, but there's the rail. Stuck it behind the rocket just to make that first frag, and now we have Anarchy removed from this round at the very least. It's just over a minute left to go, and we have a fully stacked Sorlag up against Rapha.
Yeah, the dangers at this level of pushing any of these players continuously and just kind of continuing to run at them. You know, Gellehsak just lined him up with a nice rocket and followed up with the rail. You know, and just what can you say? It was just a great play, and he kind of caught Rapha overextending a little bit.
Absolutely, and he kind of caught Rapha with a few of those rails at the heavy armor as well. I mean, he really played it very conservatively, didn't open himself to an easy angle, and made sure that, hey, if I get a rail, cool, it's only a nix. That actually goes a long way towards being able to put together an aggressive play. But Mega's going to be back up, and Gellehsak is completely leaving it up here. So as they trade items here, that is going to create about 7 seconds between them. It's going to be Rapha up in the mid-tier, hearing Gellehsak down by the shotgun before crossing back over towards railgun, because he doesn't actually have one yet. He spent all this time without a railgun, and now that he's got one in hands, this could be a little bit dangerous for Gellehsak. As he comes back through the teleporter, he's going to be expecting a play for Mega, but look at this. Rapha's just like pushing right into it. He's like, all right, you want to fight? Cool, I've got Ghost Walk ready. I've got it back in, and even though he's got the Mega, I'm going for the rail. Unfortunately, that rail did not connect.
Yeah, you got to be really careful of those Nyx. Oh, nice LG. But you got to be careful because of that increased stack that Sorlag has compared to Nyx. Nyx is really soft, and we just saw it again there. Just one good rocket combo, right? Rocket the rail combo. One bad LG stream doesn't go your way, you're toast. I mean, those champions in particular really punish you for making mistakes. They don't have the stack to live through much.
Absolutely. So now we see Anarchy v Anarchy once again. I was wondering if we were going to see maybe an earlier Sorlag, but it looks like both players are content to just skate around, skate and or die, as it's going to be with Rapha and Gellehsak here, as Rapha takes away armor as well as rail and shotgun. Over on Gellehsak's side, well, I'm sure he's got rocket launcher by now, but he's coming back in for an LG, and it's going to be denied by Rapha. Both of them taking quite a bit of damage, but as it comes into the next play for armor, and Rapha's already got his back to it.
Really impressed with Gellehsak. I mean, what can you say? I mean, in terms of just pushing this champion the way he is.
And with that LG, holy crap, I mean, we're going to be seeing a potential railable Gellehsak there. And he actually kind of stuck around there maybe a little bit too long. It always makes me nervous seeing that. But there's the play for Mega, and Gellehsak is going to go, no, it's not worth it. Don't have the stack for it. Cannot survive the fight. But here's the thing, it's a long time before anything else comes back up, and Rapha has all this time to make a hunting season, and he drops right onto Gellehsak. Gellehsak having no idea. Gellehsak not even hitting the ground before he's splattered into pieces on top of the armor.
Yeah, Rapha just went quiet there, and you know, he had a good idea where Gellehsak was, and so he's just kind of waiting for a good opportunity, and he got confirmation. He went right underneath him, and that was just too easy for a guy like Rapha.
But here, once again, we have that Sorlag, which has proven to be such a difficulty for Rapha's Anarchy. But through the teleporter, Gellehsak wasn't looking for it, and a little bit of LG goes a long way with Sorlag, and that is going to be 2 frags down for Gellehsak.
We've seen it plenty of times, those tankier champions. I mean, they are lightning gun bait. They really are.
Absolutely, and it looks like this could be his grave one more time, as the shotgun armor is just not someplace you can run away from, and that is going to tie it back up 1-1.
Like the little classy spin around there, and he realized it was all she wrote for Gellehsak in that round. A nice comeback for Rapha. Looked much sharper in that round. It makes me wonder, you know, the mental game. Is he figuring him out a little bit, or maybe did Gellehsak just have an off round and he's looking to reset here? I don't know. We'll find out.
He might have thought cranking it up to 10 was enough against Gellehsak, but obviously he's got to go all the way up to 11. But here we go. Coming back in, it's Anarchy v Anarchy once again, and it's going to be chaos on the bridge as we have the nail gun just driving down from Rapha with a little bit of a fadeaway shot there from Gellehsak as well, which means that this Mega, yeah, use that ability as much as you can, because it's going to be brutal down here.
Really close fight here. Rapha's going to be very careful to try to get away.
Yeah, with 33 health, it's not going to be easy. He's looking at that jump pad like, nah, not a good idea. Even crossing through mid is incredibly risky. And even with the pickup of this armor, well, it's actually Gellehsak who's leaving the pressure off here a little bit. Rapha's able to escape and pick up a few more 25s, arguably more important than the armor at that point, as we see Gellehsak back up at the upper small armor, dropping down to pillars. But he should, or might even hear Rapha up on this jump pad, and there's the span, beautifully shot. Good air control out of Rapha, taking him out of the line of fire, so he's able to potentially recover here. Oh, but again, Gellehsak getting behind him and getting the shot, getting the rail, getting the frag.
Good reads here, Gellehsak. I mean, he got behind the champ. I mean, you know, that just means he had him a little bit fooled there, and he had good position, and he made him pay for it. I mean, I said it, you know, in week 1 when he beat Carnage, how impressed I was with Gellehsak's play, and man, he's just impressing me. Every time I watch him, I'm just getting more and more impressed.
I'm just loving watching his movement through the map here, and if you're able to get a rocket dunk on a Nyx, that's a bonus as well. Alright, so Mega coming up here. And now the items are like very well split up here. So Gellehsak, if he's got a good read on the timing, he should be able to carry this all the way forward. I mean, he's got 1 frag off against Rapha, but right now it's 2 minutes knocked off the clock. It's a long time to survive with an Anarchy, but up against a Nyx, you can kind of strong armor her for a while.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of stack, I mean, evenly matched. The Nyx isn't going to overpower an Anarchy with stack. You just got to be careful of that Ghost Walk, though. You know, Anarchy can't take much either, even as we mentioned, with the Mega Health and the Heavy Armor. 2 good rockets will still make a mess of him.
And it's definitely a good incentive to make as many of these fights long range as possible. But here comes Rapha anyway, and just the timing on the recovery from that animation, it just took too long. How much health did he have at the end of that fight?
1 health.
1 HP, holy crap. We're gonna be seeing Rapha even up the table, but he's gonna have to spend a little bit of time stacking back up.
That's one of those where you just breathe a sigh of relief as a player and you walk away with 1 health. Yeah, I mean, I know how many times it's happened. I know you've had it happen to you. It's just one of those things like, oh wow, I need to go grab health and armor now.
Right now.
Right
Mega's
now.
going to be up there. There's going to be a little bit of a spit on it. Fortunately, Rapha can tiptoe around it and get the grab for the Mega. 8 seconds to armor. Rapha's going to be coming over, potentially over the... No, he's going to make a quick little double jump over to Rocket Launcher, which also gives him a better vantage point over the armor itself if he wants to dive in for it. Gellehsak doesn't even show up. Not like he really had to with the stack that he has right now, but as far as position goes, Gellehsak is surely wanting to know where Rapha's at and where he's going.
Yeah, and I would think if you're Gellehsak right now, Sorlag versus Nyx, you know, maybe burn that Ghost Walk or line up a good acid spit if you can to force the Ghost Walk early.
Solid rail coming out of Rapha there, but he's once again just kind of cycling the items here. And as he starts to chip away at Gellehsak's stack, he's not going to have a lot of this extra health to work with here pretty soon. Gellehsak crossing the lower end of the map right now, just leaving up that heavy armor as much as possible. Doesn't even go through the teleporter to look for the play from Rapha, but that couldn't turn into a trap, even though I'm not sure who's trapping who here. Well, it's going to turn into Nyx getting the trap if that Ghost Walk works out, and Gellehsak didn't want any of that, just baiting him through the teleporter instead.
Yeah, one of the things about the Ghost Walk ability, for those who are a little unfamiliar, even though he Ghost Walked before the teleporter will still make a sound cue, and Gellehsak correctly made the read on the sound cue, and that's why he took a defensive position.
But there's a nice rail out of Rapha there, so Gellehsak is going to be boosted across the map by that rail, but also hurt quite a bit. And once again, down here, it's going to be a fight, but up against that spit, it could be really nasty. We have 25s being picked up by Rapha, keeping him alive just barely, but that only leaves him with a handful of health, a handful quickly taken out by Gellehsak.
You know, the acid spit is really, you know, Sorlag, a lot of people feel is really a direct counter to Anarchy and Nyx because they come around the court. They really can't take that active ability from Sorlag at all. I mean, it really brings them down to nothing. I mean, they could be fully stacked. You hit them with some good acid, and they're nothing. As we just saw, he had 5 health. He was lucky to survive that, and he just came around the corner with the finish.
It's not the most healthy reaction if somebody surprises you just throwing up on them, but it works out well for Sorlag. But here we got Gellehsak. I mean, 1 frag left on Rapha, and with 9 seconds left, he might not even need to push this fight here. He's going to be backing out of the fight from Rapha once again, depending on that spit, and it works out well for him, not only taking the round, but taking 3 frags off of Rapha.
You know, the one thing I'm taking away from Gellehsak is his defensive play. When he wants to back out of a scenario and really use the rockets, and even there with the spit defensively, he's really sharp. I mean, you could just see Rapha wants to put pressure on him. And there's positions where it's like, yeah, he did some damage and he feels like he's going for a kill, but Gellehsak's, I mean, making it really hard to push in on him to get the finish. And one of the things about getting to that next level in Quake is, You know, even if you're low, you should always be dangerous. There should never be a chance for your opponent to push you indiscriminately. And you're seeing that right now.
Absolutely, but once again, we're seeing Rapha just kind of pull out all the stops and throw caution strategy to the wind and just rely on his rockets to do the talking. And so far, it's got him this first frag. I mean, he's got to be careful here, and I think you're absolutely right. He's got to really gauge when he makes those moments of aggression work for him, because this is match point for Gellehsak.
Yeah, I mean, Gellehsak, what a notch, what a feather on your cap. I mean, right? I took out the QuakeCon champion on the way to qualify for QuakeCon. His confidence, I would imagine, would be sky high going into a main event if he can pull this off.
And of course, this has the potential to allow him to move forward to QuakeCon. Now, don't worry, Rapha fans. This still means that Rapha has the lower bracket to go through, potentially, to get into QuakeCon himself, as I'm sure we're going to be seeing him. But I'm sure he's a little bit hot under the collar right now.
Yeah, this is, you know, I would imagine, you know, Rapha's confident, just like a lot of these players are. So this is definitely going to, you know, make you adjust mentally. You know, you're going to have to come back from this if Gellehsak's able to get this win. But, I mean, by all means, it really looks like he's putting a lot of pressure on Rapha. I mean, Rapha's got the lead here. But, I mean, there's a lot of time left. And Gellehsak, I mean, again, he's just playing so good. Even when he doesn't have control, he's just really smart.
Absolutely, but being a big if that it is, I'm going to do my best not to speak too soon here, as Rapha's taking a bit of damage from that spit. We have one frag in favor of Rapha right now, but there's still a lot of time for anything to happen, and letting a Sorlag across the map like that could be very dangerous for him. So Rapha coming back over towards bridge. He actually breaks himself in order to do the drop down damage with the LG, and look how effective that is, using the bridge as cover to drop down to make sure that as soon as he's in range, as soon as he's got the angle, he's doing a ton of damage.
And, you know, and it makes me wonder too, because, you know, Gellehsak is a smart player, so you obviously heard the sound cue of him, you know, circle straight towards him, or bunny hopping towards him. Now it makes me wonder if he's looking up at bridge a little bit, thinking that he jumped across and he actually dropped down. You see he was kind of running down the stairs and he was in no man's land, and Sorlag, lightning gun.
It's those kind of tricks that air control allows you to do, and that was a book picture perfect play out of Rapha there. Let's see if he can do it again and finally manage to take a map off of Gellehsak. But right now, this is going to be round 5, the tiebreaker here on Blood Covenant. We've got Rapha already eating a little bit in terms of rail damage. He's got rockets and LG, but with the distance that Gellehsak is offering here, it's going to be really difficult to make that fight happen.
Yeah, as always, again, Gellehsak's doing a great job. This is such in the balance right now. I really couldn't even tell you right now. I mean, normally I would just be like, yeah, I think Rapha's going to pull it out. And, you know, based on experience, you think he's probably going to lock it in here and force this to a third map. But at the same time, I mean, his back is against the wall right now.
Well, his back is against Gellehsak right now as well. He kind of got turned around. He lost track of where Gellehsak was at. But one explosion is usually all it takes to get your bearings once again. And with the spam coming out of Gellehsak, Rapha is kind of peeking around this corner, maybe going for the LG play, especially since he's back up against the wall. We might see the adrenaline push out of both of them, actually, as they try to get out of that fight. No fadeaway rail there from Rapha, but at least he's able to get this mega.
Yeah, that was a big little miss there. Could have really got the frag. Let's see if he makes up for here on. That's nice. He's got good position. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get it.
Well, you're surprised, I guess.
Yeah, I thought, well, after the first rail, I thought maybe he might push in and force an LG battle, but I think, again, the respect that Gellehsak has earned, you know, he's a little wary about just pushing in, I think.
Absolutely. So Rapha still holding on to the top of the map. Gellehsak did not have timing on the Mega, so Rapha is going to be enjoying that right now. That means that Gellehsak will be heading back over towards armor. Still a little bit too early. If he had stuck around a little bit more, he could have at least heard the Mega pickup, but now he's a bit of a sitting duck. At least he's a well-armored sitting duck here now, as his LG is still doing a ton of damage to Rapha, but they're both going to be kind of eyeing each other down and backing away slowly.
Yeah, Rapha definitely ate some lightning gun there, had to back off. He didn't, I mean, he could have technically taken one unzoomed rail, but he didn't want to risk that. You know, Gellehsak was zoomed in up there, and yeah, it was good to back off.
But here, even with natural stack, this is incredibly risky for Gellehsak at the very least. He's looking for the rails, doesn't quite get a hit out of it though, as now he's got better timing on the armor, so does Rapha, and he's going to be looking for those long-range shots. Not quite getting any just yet, but Gellehsak coming back over to the bridge. Rapha's going to be looking for an opportunity. Yeah, Gellehsak didn't see him there. This is a free hit out of Rapha, and you don't see too many of those here on Blood Covenant. Not between these guys, at least. Oh, jeez. Nasty play, really good rockets out of both of them, but Rapha getting that last second switch over to LG is able to get that first frag.
It's amazing how close these fights are, really, even right there. I mean, the injection Rapha did really was the difference because, wow, it's coming down to the wire. A lot of this, it's kind of amazing to watch these guys go at it.
Oh, wow, the LG as that sort of like crosses the air. That was such a dive, knowing that Rapha was already down there. That was such a risky play, but it's going to be a Dire Orb already taken and missed from Gellehsak. This is his last life available on Blood coming in, and he's stuck down in the blood pool. I guess we know whose blood it is now.
Big turnaround for Rapha, obviously. Needed to have that map.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, Gellehsak's really pushing him here. Well, we'll see what's going on with map number 3. What an exciting match, though. I mean, looking at the stats, though, Rapha, this is a little more what 21 heavy armor to 11, 19 as well. That's a little more of a cushion there for stack. And you could tell that last round he started to really push Gellehsak around.
Yeah, it was really fascinating watching Rapha sort of vacillate between, the calm, cool-headed play that we know Rapha for, and going, all right, I'm pissed. I'm just gonna take you down.
Yeah, he got a little aggressive there, some key points in the match, but I think he needed to, and it's all right to change up the pace like that and maybe throw your opponent off a little bit too.
All right, well, what we're going to be doing is throwing it over to our guys in blue, and well, I don't know what he's wearing, but we're going to be getting a little bit of analysis here.
I do have a shirt on.
I think it's gray.
I think it's like a gray. It's like an off color or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of them things. Anyway, I'm not a fashionista, right? So check this out. We got Rapha against the ropes. What's going on right now, Blue?
Yeah, I mean, Rapha changed up his playstyle dramatically from what we first saw at the beginning of the first map there, and now all of a sudden in this map as well, was playing incredibly aggressive, right down to the wire of it, right even into the very end of that last round there too. It changed up for him, and it ended up working out great because he was able to dominate the playing field for most of that second map there. Still going to all 5 rounds, but towards the end of it, it was Rapha kind of coming back in and showing that dominant form that a lot of people expected to see at the beginning of this tournament.
No, 100% we're seeing fights right now that are going the distance. We're seeing close battles where these guys are going toe-to-toe, almost to the end, But we do have a replay for you at home, so let's take a look at that real quick. A pretty last 1 HP kill here, so Blue, walk me through it.
Yeah, and this is just to showcase more of that aggression as well that we were seeing from Rapha, and not only this too, but his really good play, as we saw that last second rail come in there too, and that's why he got brought down so low. But this was showcasing the really good aggressive play and how well he was timing it to work out well with the stealth usage there. We already saw one example of that when we had a replay up from the last game too, and we see another example of that here too. So his Nyx is really something to be feared because of how well he's able to time that ability with his aggression to move in and really punish opponents.
Now, a question I'm going to ask, and this is not a question I think anyone would have asked coming in today. Is Rapha going to QuakeCon?
I still think Rapha's going to QuakeCon, yes. I still think he's going to have enough. Maybe he may be able to lose his third map, but even if he drops out here, I still think he can make a comeback in the lower bracket and push through there.
Well, you can see up there, you can see the little bit of frustration on his face. You know that he's finding himself backed against the wall. He's in a hard spot right now, and he's going to have to come back from that. But what are some of the strengths that he's playing into right now? What's really working well for him?
Well, just to iterate it, like I said before, the ability usage is really good. His timing is great, and the fact that he's changed up his play style from what we were seeing towards the beginning of the first map, where he was kind of hanging back and was willing to let things kind of draw out a little bit more. And now he's willing to just jump right into the fight, get right into the action, and really pressure Gellehsak, put him right in, get right up in his face and take a lot of those close-up goals. And it really doesn't seem like Gellehsak is kind of ready for a lot of those engagements. That's why Rapha seems to be taking the advantage of a lot of those situations.
Definitely the get-in-your-face approach looks as though it's going to be advantageous there for Rapha. But let's bring it over down to Gellehsak. I mean, looking at the play that he's putting on right now, the performance he's having here against Rapha, what is there to say about that?
I mean, overall, this is a huge surprise for Rapha to begin with, and we can see that with the frustration that he's showing up on the stage there, and how it even seems like he was expecting to push through this one with not too much of a problem, and he's now having to work against that. So Gellehsak is definitely testing Rapha to a pretty big ability here, and it's now come back to him, however, to correct things going on to the third map, as he was the one making a lot of mistakes, a lot of miscalculations, taking a lot of engagements that he really shouldn't have in that second map, and he has to make up for that now going into the third and final map.
In a lot of these close fights, I anticipate us to see a lot of more close fights going into this last map. I think it's going to be a very pivotal thing, and it's going to come down to the wire. I mean, how are you seeing this one play out?
I mean, absolutely. And now we go over to Corrupted Keep as well for that third map, which is going to be very close fights. There's no escaping these fights anymore that we were seeing a lot of in the first and second maps, where players were given the ability, because the fights were happening at such long range, that they were able to bail out a lot of the time. That can't happen in this map. And also the rail is getting removed from the equation too, so that also shakes things up a bit.
Right, now we've seen a decent amount of rail usage in these past 2 maps, and then we're going to take it away going into this 3rd map. Now, explain to the audience at home why there's no rail.
Well, I don't know the exact reasoning, of course, just speculation.
Sounds good. Sick.
But again, because of how close together the map is and how much smaller it is, it tends to work better without the rail being in there. And you
It's
just
not
have
as
like,
effective.
yeah, you basically just rely on the rockets and the LG to get most of the work done there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, definitely some of these rockets we're seeing are right on point. The LG is always dropping 7s all day, rolling 7s all over the place. So who's your pick going in this 3rd map, Blue?
I think Rapha's gotten into the groove of things now from the 2nd map, so I'm going to stay consistent with my pick from the beginning of the series, and I'll go with him all the way to win this one and take it 2-1.
You thinking 2-1?
Yeah.
I mean, just to be the devil's advocate, I feel like one of us has to go the other way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we could even ask those guys on the desk, but I don't know. Maybe they may or may not know a thing or two about what's going on. But speaking of those guys, let's go ahead and give it to them right now. We're going to be bringing you the rest of this map.
Thanks, guys. And I didn't know Blue was a betting man.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, now have to get some money off him.
I have to see if they want to put any cash down on this. But
yeah, I'm down to make some Quake bets if anybody's in. I think I have a pretty good handle on.
I want to agree. I want to say that Rapha is definitely kind of coming to his own here, and he's changed his state of play a few times, but so has Gellehsak. That's the really amazing thing here.
Yeah, the back and forth, I can't. It's giving me goosebumps, man, watching these guys. It really is. I mean, they're really top-notch players. The mental game, the adjustments. It did seem like Rapha was kind of forcing the issue a little bit in that 2nd map, putting Gellehsak. I think Blue was accurate there. Like the 1st map, he's kind of letting things come to him and more trying to read and play a little passive. And I think he realized, you know what, this guy's also kind of doing that to me as well, and I need to kind of push some scenarios, make him maybe feel a little uncomfortable.
But then you have these moments where, he sees his opponent across pillars and decides to just go ghost walk and commit to that fight. And he gets out of it with 1 health. I want to watch that replay like a few more times, man.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He had to drop on him. But I've mentioned it a couple times when you get an ambush, especially with the lightning gun and they're using the rocket launcher. Yeah, you can line them up really well, but be careful. That little turnaround, I mean, they can do 100 damage straight out. That's going to do, a little bit faster than your 777 stuff going on. So
if only it were 101.
If only it were 101. Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah. So it was a tough fight. That's for sure. But again, you gotta take those calculated risks if you want to win in this game.
Absolutely. But getting right into Corrupted Keep here, we're going to be following Gellehsak out of the gate, as he will be getting the spawn for rocket launcher. Coming back in for a second grab of rocket launcher, making sure there's a little bit of pressure on Rapha as he tries to make his own grab. Making good use of the nail gun here so far, but he's finally going to get a rocket of his own as they come back in for actually already pretty split timing between the Mega and the armor. So Gellehsak can just take a quick tour around the map, hopefully not getting LG'd by Rapha, but that's exactly what we're seeing here as he's going to be backing into this recovery room, but he's not going to be able to afford much time to stay there. It's a really dangerous place.
One of the things I've noticed with Anarchy, and I can imagine, as having played him, it's so much fun to run around. I think these players, they get so caught up in zooming around the map. You see them come around the map, and oh no, I'm wide open and my enemy's right in front of me. It's you got to be careful falling in love with his movement a little too much. It's still Quake. You got to slow it down here and there and listen.
Absolutely, and listening is a huge part of Corrupted Keep. I mean, there's just so much information you can get with your ears here, but Gellehsak is just taking a quick moment to stay a little quiet. But, when you're down there looking for that Mega, oh my god, that rocket was awesome. Followed up by a 100 damage rocket. That was just pulled out of nowhere. Rapha is going to be running or skating for his life at this point, not getting caught down at the armor room. But Gellehsak is certainly going to hear him coming up the jump pad, looking for a little bit of spam, and as you see Rapha actually stopping dead in his tracks to make sure he doesn't get dead on his Anarchy.
Yeah, recognizing that he just let out a sound cue, recognizing his opponent is smart, probably going to leave a rocket there for him, and yeah, Gellehsak is smart, and he had a rocket there waiting for him. But just to go back to that little setup, though, what a great rocket off the side of the ledge there, bounced him up and landed another one by Mega Health. I mean, it swung control. I mean, now he's in control right now.
Absolutely, and he was actually really intelligent there. He knew Rapha was up on top of jump pad, but it wasn't worth pushing the fight, so you go, all right, fine, you stay up there, I'm going to go get Mega, and I'm going to come back in for armor, and that's exactly what we saw Gellehsak do. We have Rapha just still really at a disadvantage in terms of weapons and stack, but that little bit of spam might have just pushed Gellehsak over. It's going to be really nasty here on the upper armor. It's going to be the drop for Mega Health here coming out of Gellehsak, as Rapha's going to be stuck over the top, maybe even be able to catch him on this doorway. Yeah, you have to be careful how soon you spam that doorway. If you do it too soon, your opponent does not have to commit.
Yeah, and again, we've seen the patience and the mental reading from Gellehsak. He knows, hey, he knows who he's playing here. You know, he's not just going to run out indiscriminately and be silly here. So he's giving respect to Rapha. You can see the respect actually from both players, the way they're playing.
Well, we almost had a few more bones added down there. I mean, that is just a silly room for all those fights. We've seen so many players get knocked off the map there, but neither player really wanted that to happen to them, so they're going to back off a little bit. Unfortunately, that does mean that, well, unfortunately for Gellehsak, that Rapha's going to be getting control of the Mega, and he's still making such a huge fight here for the armor even after the grab. He's down to 29 health, but that means that there's going to be nothing but the health orbs ready for him to stack back up for the next fight.
Great super nail gun work by Gellehsak to really set up this frag that happened later on. Rapha was actually pretty fortunate to get out of that initial engagement down there by heavy armor, landed a good rocket of his own to enable him to back off, but what nail gun work by
Absolutely.
Gellehsak.
First blood going to Gellehsak, and once again, this is the third tie-breaking map between Gellehsak and Rapha. One of these players will be immediately advancing to QuakeCon. The other will have a bit more work cut out for them in the lower bracket, but Gellehsak almost got cut out of the play for the lower armor room. But really good aggression. That was actually kind of a Rapha play where he goes, all right, this is a bad situation. What am I going to do? Get aggressive.
Yeah, you know, he hit him with that rocket. Again, it's good recognition of his opponent being low, and he just went into full aggressive mode. You know, with these players, especially he's going against Rapha, yeah, if you got a chance to get that frag, you better get it if you can, because you don't want to leave this guy in the game.
Well, this LG could be a problem for Rapha there as that turns into the first round going to Gellehsak.
Very impressive, very impressive. I mean, really pushing Shane, aka Rapha, to his limits right now. You know, he just continues to impress me. Gellehsak, wow, even from week 1. You know, I didn't get to see him in the following weeks because he qualified straight away. But I did get to see him practice a little bit. I was watching him online, you know, on Twitch, and he's a heck of a player, man.
Absolutely. He's been incredibly consistent online and potentially on land if he's able to make this map happen. But when he gets stuck down there in the boneyard, a few more get added down there, and it's going to be the first frag going over to Rapha very quickly. That does mean Sorlag time for Gellehsak, and Rapha has got to spend a little bit of time recovering here as we have 5 seconds left to Mega. I'm sure he wants to get back up to full health before even committing to that drop. But there's a little bit of LG, a little bit of aggression coming out of Gellehsak, and well-timed indeed. Rapha's going to be pushed back to LG, and he's actually going to catch Sorlag down there at the armor room, doing a little bit of free damage with LG. And there's the direct rocket out of the teleporter, switching back over to the machine gun, looking for that last little bit of damage. But as you can see, he still has a ton of health to chew through.
Wow, a lot of these fights are really close. I mean, you could see Gellehsak getting aggressive after the spawn because that first initial frag by Rapha was so close, but wow, these guys, every engagement, it just seems like it's so close. Somebody's going to die at any second, it just seems like.
Gellehsak came so close. Once again, the LG on Sorlag is just so devastating. We saw all that health just melt away as Rapha is looking forward to the next aggressive play here. It's going to be the armor spawning back up. A little bit of spam is going to reveal Rapha's position, so Gellehsak is not going to commit to that outer hallway. Instead, he's going to try to go get some more 25s up there. He's going to be looking for those for a while, I think.
Yeah, that's one of the disadvantages, I guess, of the tank classes, right? Is when you are low, you need more of those health bubbles, more of those light armor.
Takes work.
It takes work to get that stack back up.
But Rapha still playing with a relatively low stack. He's going to be running into a little bit of spit. Fortunately for him, none of it's direct, but it's going to be burning through that Mega at least. So we've got Rapha coming back into lower armor. We have heavy armor actually taken away by Gellehsak. So he's actually starting to stack back up. All that work you were talking about, it looks like it's going Gellehsak's way. And if he gets caught here at the rocket launcher, did Gellehsak hear the rocket launcher pickup? Yes, but Rapha already figured out, all right, there's not too many places you can be. You've got to be back in this hallway.
Oh, look at that reach.
Jeez, look at that rocket.
Come on. It timed perfectly.
But he's able to escape from the fight at the very least. And Gellehsak still with an awesome stack here. He's going to have to give up that heavy armor, looking for a little bit of damage to the teleporter. And when you're Sorlag, yeah, sure, go through the teleporter. He might take a nail or two, no biggie. But the jump pad as well, he's just inviting a lot of damage. But one rocket from Gellehsak makes Rapha immediately go back to the drawing board. But it's this room, and this is a nasty place to be in. It's a nasty place to try to escape from. And he almost got taken down from behind as well.
Wow, Rapha just barely escaping there. Gellehsak putting pressure. He's got firm control right now. You know, he's going to come back aggressive here. Oh, nice.
Oh, the classic Sorlag trying to rocket jump to cross the map, but he crossed right into Gellehsak's reach there. Nasty, nasty play, but he turned it right back around. Really good response there with the rocket. Yeah, I actually appreciate this replay because that rocket just was way too quick.
And again, you know, Gellehsak really was, well, as he got fragged here, but he was really pushing the Sorlag versus Anarchy stack thing, right? He knew even though he got lined up with the lightning gun, he knew Anarchy could only take so much. Landed that rocket. Even with the heavy armor, you're low on health. It doesn't matter. One more rocket got killed, but Rapha came right back and got aggressive and knew he was going to be low after that.
Unfortunately, Rapha's in a bit of an awkward position now. He's got a minute and 30 seconds to make a frag happen. At least he was able to spawn and take away that Mega. It was kind of weird that Gellehsak didn't show up there at all, knowing that his opponent was going to be on the other side of the map there. But now we've got Gellehsak on his last lifeline. I mean, he's come so close to taking Rapha down. But for this round, at least, we've got only that Ranger left in play. We've got Mega taken away now by Rapha. Once again, Gellehsak still holding on to dear life up at the top, but Rapha's now looking for a trap. He's actually having a lot of trouble finding him. He saw him and caught him outside of the teleporter, but can't do much about it here unless Gellehsak pushes forward into this fight.
Yeah, Gellehsak right now, he can still make it happen, but he needs to make a frag happen in the next like 15 seconds to have a shot here.
All right, that rocket jump kind of careens him right into the wall there, putting him in an awkward spot there on the armor. Taking a little bit of damage as he comes through the window, and he's looking for the dire orb actually, as well as rockets. Rapha taking a bit of extra damage there as he comes back in for the heavy armor, and Gellehsak is nowhere to be found, or is he going to find him on the outside of the teleporter? Here's the play over at the top, and really nice timing on the ghost walk. That's going to save his life, and maybe give him this shot, give him this frag, as he's able to nail Gellehsak to the wall.
Nice finish there. Again, you know, Rapha wasn't exactly stacked at the end of that fight there. He was also low, and he had to hit that rocket. If he missed that rocket off the wall, you know, to catch him right after he bounced him up, that's a Gellehsak round, and he's looking down 2-0. That's how razor close these guys are right now. It's really amazing to watch. I mean, you're pushing the champ to his limits right now, so.
Wow. Well, this LG is certainly pushing Rapha's to his limits here as we have rocket launcher taken away, but so far, Gellehsak doesn't need one to become a problem for Rapha. Rapha's immediately going to be going back to the recovery room as Mega's still 12 seconds away. Rapha just doing a little bit of a peek check to make sure that he knows where Gellehsak is at, as he's still kind of lurking around that LG.
Little cat and mouse here, both of them trying to pick up on some sound cues.
It's going to turn into traded items here, and when they're both Anarchy, we're going to have to see what that means. A lost opportunity for both of them on the jump pad. Rapha had to turn right around and get just a 14 damage rocket off of Gellehsak. That's not going to bother him too much here. Still a long time before items come up, and Rapha is hearing Gellehsak up in the recovery room. And actually getting stuck down here, he's going to need the adrenaline, but it isn't going to save him from this fight. He's looking for an exit. He's going, fine, take that armor. I don't need it. Actually, seeing his opponent cross, he did the smart thing. He did not engage, just allowed the Mega to be taken, and he took what item was safe. And right now, this still turns into a bit of a game where both players are getting items. Neither player is doing much more damage to the other.
Yeah, it's a real big cat and mouse. Again, you can see the respect both players have for each other by just not rushing into situations, even if they think it might be slightly advantageous. It's like, not advantageous enough. You know, I don't feel confident about that. So it just speaks to the level of both these guys, and it's just so much in the balance right now. I'm seeing the back and forth. You know, am I going to get Mega? Am I going to get heavy armor? It seems like they're swapping items. Sometimes one of them has control, then the next guy has control. And they both have a little bit. It's going every which way right now.
Absolutely, and that is one of the major skill sets in Quake, is knowing when a sure thing is a sure thing. And it's a little ambiguous for both of these guys here. I mean, Rapha just ate a rocket, make that 2 here, but he's still able to recover. But we still got Gellehsak up top, just doing a ton of damage, dropping in, cutting him off from the heavy armor, as Rapha will once again have to route around him and actually just avoid this fight. I like that little lap that he just took. He's able to come back into Mega, but he wasn't at Mega when Gellehsak got there.
Yeah, a little defensive there. Even good thing, because Gellehsak was ready to drop those rockets down on him. He still got 8 damage off of it, but if Rapha wasn't ready for him, it could have been a lot worse.
Well, Gellehsak is trapping Rapha here, but how much of a trap is it when your opponent is just LGing you all the way back over to the other side of the map?
This is a big fight for this armor here.
And there's the one rocket dunk that he needed to be able to commit to that armor. There's the shot, there's the frag, and it's going to be Gellehsak getting the first frag on the board for this round.
Wow. Wow. I think Rapha probably could have not been sitting there. We've seen players do this where, and I think even Shane or Rapha would tell somebody, you should never be, looking to hatch that egg on an armor or a mega health spawn. So, Gellehsak had a good high position, drop rockets down on him.
But Rapha throwing off a lot of damage with the nail gun there as Gellehsak is backing off, trying to catch Rapha out of the teleporter, not quite getting it. But there's the play through the LG, a very quick one. I mean, Rapha's not wasting any time now, sitting in any one area. But there's a lot of LG damage dealt out, down to 5 HP, and he's still 30 seconds away from his next hit. But he's gonna get hit by Rapha and taken on down.
Yeah, desperation there, 5 health, not much he can do. I mean, and then Rapha ghost walked, so he was just right on his tail the whole time. On his tail.
That's a brand new tail for Gellehsak, absolutely, as he spawns up with Sorlag. And now, if he's able to take any of these items away, if he can get a Mega, if he can get an armor, it'll be a huge help. But it's going to be a big fight over one of the smaller armors here, turning into an LG fight that Rapha takes out.
Wow, just lining him up with the lightning gun. Ran into the face of Sorlag, just didn't get hit with all that spit, thankfully, and landed that lightning gun. I mean, geez, the tanking of champions, they really are lightning gun bait. We see it over and over again. That's what makes, I think, playing these champions kind of interesting, because you got to take a little care with those tank champions. You can't be too aggressive in these open areas. It can come back to haunt you.
Absolutely, and we're gonna have to see how haunted Gellehsak feels here, as Rapha could go invisible at any point here. In fact, he's going to do it right now, and he's going to be stuck down here by the 225s. Is it going to be enough to save him? This nice rocket jump. It was a nice thought. Hey, maybe this rocket jump will get me up faster than the jump pad, but not fast enough.
Yeah, that was one of those sure things we were talking about. That was right there. He had him low, and then the ghost walk right underneath him. Gellehsak had nowhere to go right there. There's really nothing he could do. It's just a great play from by Rapha, putting another great player into a bad spot where he can't get out of. It's the name of the game.
Well, Rapha is once again starting to show us why he's been the multiple champion at QuakeCon here, just able to adapt to a lot of these situations. But of course, Gellehsak is no slouch. He's been meeting Rapha at every turn, even if it turns into a bit of a rocket scuffle.
Rapha just really showing his composure here. I mean, this Gellehsak's really pushing him, and it's easy to get frustrated or to think something didn't go your way, or I didn't get that spawn, or you can't go down that road in this game, and it's very easy to, and that's why I kind of talk about psychology and emotions in this game. You gotta almost be like in a zen-like state here. You can't be too high or too low.
You can't be tempted to flip tables at all, but there's a little bit of a rocket splash from Rapha there, as Gellehsak is going to be, I'm not sure where he's running actually. I mean, he should have LG at this point. It's a nice safe place to just, sit on that windowsill and go, all right, which way is safer to go? But it turns out that crossing rocket launcher is almost never safe, so Rapha is starting to tighten this noose a little bit, leaves it open long enough for Gellehsak to break back out, but he comes right back into Mega, doing a little bit of damage before Rapha is just given the Mega. Hopefully this turns into a heavy armor pickup for Gellehsak.
Yeah, he just ran. He needed that armor. Again, it's interesting, these Anarchy versus Anarchy matchups. It's almost like who's going to get that first good hit, force the injection out of the other guy, right? And then you follow it up a little more damage, you get that kill. So.
Ooh, a few sevens popping out there from Rapha. But the nice thing about playing Anarchy is that you don't really have to go through the teleporter at the heavy armor. I mean, you could just turn right back around and you're in and out before anybody knows better. But man, a lot of rocket trades going on here between the two guys here. And as they come back into upper armor, Gellehsak might be looking for an ambush out of the jump pad room. Nope. He's going to be revealing himself a little bit too early there, and Rapha is going to know that he's a little bit stuck. It's hard to do damage at such an oblique angle, but he's still looking for it here.
Yeah, good backup there by Gellehsak. There's not much he can do there. So Rapha knew he was there. You're just going to push out the damage, so that was a good retreat. Just reposition.
But no frags, 3 minutes left to go here. We have the HMG getting pulled out by Rapha, doing a little bit of plank damage as items come up. And again, the respect that we're talking about, they're both just going to take their safe item and come back into a fight another time.
Yeah, and at this level, you really do want to, you want that initial hit. You want some kind of advantage position stack.
But at some point, it's going to be LG on LG. It's going to be 70 health left over for Rapha after that adrenaline injection. It's going to be both of them relatively weak, and that means that this next play for Mega, 7 seconds away, is incredibly risky for both of them. Rapha's being really loud. Gellehsak's got to know he's down there. It's an opportunity for spam, even if he might get shot himself.
Doing the right thing, just taking some safe defensive rockets, plugging away, hoping to get a hit as he backed off to heavy armor. This is gonna, this might come down to one of those one-kill games.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think both players are kind of gearing themselves up for it here, but as we've seen before, coming around the wrong corner at the wrong time can end this match very quickly. Rapha making sure that's not going to happen by going a little bit more silent. Gellehsak had the same idea. In fact, they both had exactly the same idea, and it close to exactly the same amount of damage there.
And I would imagine Gellehsak, he's thinking, I had this guy so close, you know, he's on the verge, and now he's on the verge now. What a reversal for Gellehsak. So I'm sure he's thinking to play a little cautious. Doesn't want to make this easy for Rapha. He's thinking try to tie this up and force, winner take all round.
And Rapha is throwing out so much spam right now, but that's allowing Gellehsak potentially the opportunity to get around him and get the drop wins. He's done it once, but against Rapha, it's no easy feat. And actually, Gellehsak's actually in a bad spot now. You could take the adrenaline, take the extra speed, and get the hell out of there. But there's Mega taken away by Rapha. Gellehsak is going to be exiting the heavy armor after the pickup, but he's going to have a little bit of trouble crossing mid for free.
I'm wondering if one of these guys tried to delay one of those heavy items, or they're going to just continue playing off their own and looking to get the better ambush. That's also an option. You don't have to control both.
Well, which play is more risky is, I'm sure, the question both of these players are asking. But Gellehsak is kind of up against the ropes, but he's swinging out with it nicely. This is huge, though. 45 seconds left, and he was able to HMG down Rapha, taking that first frag away. And if he can evade this Nyx, it's actually kind of interesting that Rapha went for Nyx in these final few seconds here.
Maybe just looking to get one good Ghost Walk ambush to try to even the score here.
It's all he's going to need, and this LG is certainly a great way for Rapha to start. Now Gellehsak just getting incredibly paranoid with these rockets, throwing off a lot of spam damage, just trying to stay mobile, trying not to get trapped, not trying to get stuck in this room in particular, in this hallway in particular, but there's them drugs to help him along.
Yeah, doing a good job right here. Just get away, but oh no. Oh no.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you get stuck, you get stopped, and that is it. So that is going to be now overtime. Sudden death here. It's going to be Sorlag against a Nyx.
Wow. Just, I've been there, so I know the feeling of pushing for that frag in the last 10 seconds to get a tie just to force the overtime. And, just typically what I had in our room, or my match back then, is I had a little momentum because of that. I felt like that was huge, It was like I somehow was able to get a frag. So I want to see if Rapha is able to pull it through here after that impressive rush.
He dives down like he knows he's going to be ghost walking, but decides not to use it aggressively, just going to be taking away the mega health instead. That's going to leave heavy armor in the hands of Gellehsak, and that's really dangerous. I mean, LG target or not, this is a lot of armor to burn through. And now Rapha is up against the wall, literally and figuratively, here down at the upper armor room. But he's able to evade the fight, take away some health, and stay alive here, most importantly.
He was literally one good placed rocket from Gellehsak away from death. When he ducked around that corner, I was surprised Gellehsak just kind of lay a rocket right
He just
there.
didn't want to play the corner game,
Yeah.
like it was too risky. All right, but there's Rapha taking away the armor, but there's mega health now in the hands of Gellehsak here. So there's going to be LG on LG, but there's Ghost Walk ready to go. And Gellehsak is trying to bait it out here. Or force it, rather, by doing enough damage to make Rapha back out. And with 38 health, it's going to be kind of on that edge.
Yeah, Rapha really taking some risks with the machine.
Yeah,
I mean, he's staying out there a decent amount. I mean, more than, considering how stacked Gellehsak is with health, he's kind of like, I'm a little surprised.
And for this mega, it looks like Rapha has decided that he's either got to punish or steal it, but he's just going to be doing a juke instead, and it eventually turns just into a trade. I'm wondering if that's going to be helping out Gellehsak more in the long run here.
I think it kind of hurts him a little bit because he has no armor right now. He's going purely off of health. He really is just two rockets away from death.
Absolutely, and Rapha is starting to chip away at Gellehsak here. There's the spit, there's the Ghost Walk, and this time the range is good, the LG is good, and when your opponent Ghost Walk, you run into that room, that is just a death knell. And that's going to be Rapha holding in there.
Yeah, that was the concern, with the Sorlag and no armor. Granted, his health was high, but we've seen, so easy to line them up with the lightning gun, and he took a little initial rocket damage, and Rapha lined him up with some 7s, and then Ghost Walk, just make sure he can't get away, easy pursuit, right, with the Ghost Walk, and what a comeback from Rapha, man. I mean, really showed his composure, and it's just kind of impressive to see him go down in a match like that, and he was down. That was it. I mean, if he died one more time, that was it. He lost 2-0.
Right.
I mean, that's how close it was, and to come back from that just shows how mentally strong he is. I'm sure he was frustrated, obviously, but they'll block that out. It's just great.
All right, well, that relieves a lot of tension for a lot of these players here, but I'm hoping to see more from Gellehsak here in the lower bracket, and I think we'll have that opportunity. So you've heard a lot about what we think about that match, but now we get to hear what Blue and Stunna think. Guys?
You know what, Blue? I'd ask you what we think, but I'm not sure there's a lot of thinking. Just straight action right there. Gellehsak bringing the pain, but Rapha coming out on top. all the way down to the wire.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a really great transformation over the course of the series with Rapha starting off from behind, dropping the first map. It's a big surprise to him, as we could tell, by the way he was looking up on the stage and whatnot when it did happen. Then in the second map, he finally kind of gets things going, picks up his first map there. It was very close. Again, went to all 5 rounds at the end of it. And then here on the third map is when he finally comes in and takes quick control again to be able to really win out this set here and take it 2-1, as I said before.
And we're seeing a lot of those up-in-your-face fights still, even on the last map here, which is, indicative of the entire series of back and forth in each other's faces. But with this, Rapha does join his teammate to hang at QuakeCon. So that's a cool storyline by itself. What do you think about Rapha's performance right here and being tested?
I mean, if anything, what this does say is that the big champions, even the champion himself of QuakeCon, can definitely be defeated, as we've seen. These guys aren't invulnerable. They can be beaten by other players that are showing up, even these older Quake players now, like the opponent that he just took on there. Anyone can beat anyone at this point because this is a new game, a lot of new play styles coming into the picture, and it is kind of open season with that regard.
Well, open season for sure. Let's take a look now at this replay that we do have loaded up, and if you don't mind walking us through.
Yeah, and this was one of the final mistakes that Gellehsak ended up making here now, was he actually tried to jump into the fight and poured into it. And this was the problem, is he dove into a fight that he had no business taking here, lost himself, and now we can take a look at the perspective of it from Gellehsak. He tried to dive down with the armor, thinking that his opponent had actually left the fight, but that wasn't the case. And then as a result of that, Rapha was able to once again have a really